All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for another of our Big Brother 17 on the block game rundowns. Tonight, we're joined by the beautiful Jackie. What's up, girl? Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Happy to be here. Love you guys. I'm so
Uh,
excited for this one.
well, thank you. The honors is all ours,
Absolutely.
for sure, for sure. So, but anyway, McCray, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. How's it going? I'm just really pleased with that intro song. That's Jake Badenrad, aka just Badenrad. Check out Badenrad Music, local Minneapolis musician who's just a fucking badass. Love it. But yeah,
Cool.
it just made me smile so much. But more importantly, we're here for the woman of the hour, Jackie, or however long it takes us. Jackie, I just started rewatching season 26 of Amazing Race. My boy Mikey.
Yay, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. My boy Mikey was on there, so definitely I was watching back, and now that I know you guys, you and Jeff a little bit, it's just so much fun to watch you guys. You guys really were a super interesting team on Amazing Race. I am super surprised that you guys didn't get the old Amazing Race pass through for one eviction, just because you guys were so likable. I don't know. Tell us where we talked about with this with Jeff. Tell us where you got cast into Amazing Race, because that's going to kind of get us into getting cast with Big Brother. But let's start at the start. Where did you hear about Amazing Race? How did you get into it? Where did all that come from?
So my story with getting on The Amazing Race was I actually used to be a heat dancer back in the day.
Okay.
So there was an email sent to me from the Miami Heat. It's been a while since I've been on the team, probably now 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just looking for former NBA dancers, former NFL cheerleaders. I think they reached out to kind of all the teams.
Okay.
And then this season, they were like, there's going to be a twist. You must be single. And I actually had just broken up with my boyfriend a week before. So I was like, yep, I'm single. I'm obsessed with The Amazing Race. This is something I definitely want to do. The blind date thing, absolutely crazy. But let's do it. And it kind of just went from there.
Okay, so I mean, getting through that whole process, you get on this show and you're with this fucking wacky dude who seems pretty down to earth. He seems like a good guy. You're with Jeff, and it seems like kind of your guys' connection was like a little bit more different than I guess a lot of the other like blind dates. Just tell us about that kind of like meeting Jeff.
I know you got to watch me meet him on TV. I mean, I was just so excited and so anxious to meet this guy. I mean, I was about to race around the world with a total stranger.
Huge commitment.
I mean, am I gonna like this guy? Am I not? Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
we gotta win. So I was so excited. I just jumped in. As you saw, I just jumped on him. He's like, oh my gosh, I got the crazy girl.
Well, it seems
and
like
then
both
that
of you
was
guys
it.
are.
It went
It seems like you guys kind of are the same like kind of personality, where it's like you guys are both like, let's do this, like let's get fucking wild on this and let's kick some ass. Like it seemed like you guys both had the same
Yeah.
similar attitude of just like fucking kamikaze, let's go. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
No, I mean, yeah.
go on. What else? What else about Jeff? I feels like you have something else to say about him.
I know.
No, well, just
Oh, I
because we grilled him a little bit about the
I
same.
mean,
Go on.
yeah, we have some history here. I mean, who else, what a crazy team doing this together. And then Big Brother, I mean, so,
Absolutely. So,
I mean,
well, let's kind of lead you into it. I mean, you guys get off the Amazing Race. You guys are in this like kind of whirlwind. Like, holy shit, I was just on TV a whole bunch. Like, what the fuck? And then I don't remember exactly how Jeff said it happened. But someone from Big Brother must approach you. How does that kind of situation all work out?
So we did get a phone call. I got a phone call from my casting director, Lynn Stillman, who is for The Amazing Race. So she was just like, hey, they want to use you for Big Brother. And I was like, hell yeah. And they're like, I think they might ask Jeff. We're not sure. It might be the both of you, one of you, maybe. She wouldn't say.
She was being coy about it.
From there, yeah. So I honestly, to be honest, they never even told me Jeff was going to go, the producers, like once this all happened. So, I mean, Jeff and I talk, obviously, we were kind of like, hey, back and forth with this, but it was so quick, you guys, like literally a week's notice.
Yeah.
Pack your bags, leaving for 3 months. I mean, I didn't even know if Jeff was going to be there. We were walking to the studio and there's Jeff like, hey, okay, Jeff made it. Awesome, cool. Like, we didn't even get to like talk.
But I believe that you guys probably had some sort of idea of like, hey, like, you guys had to be like, okay, well, if this does happen, even, I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but we're going to have a strategy, because when we see you guys go in, you guys don't play a game that I imagine you guys would have played. I thought you guys would have been thick as thieves. I thought you were going to be just super tight, and I thought you guys were going to sit and really give it away that you guys are a true team. But what we do see actually end up happening is you guys played away from each other almost the whole entire game, almost never talking from what I kind of saw. The only time I ever saw it was like before he left. But other than that, like, you guys come in and play this very, very strategic and smart game and pretty much convince the rest of the house not to even go after you week one. Kind of just explain, going into the house, going into, like, the strategy of you and Jeff and that first week, kind of just really spell it out for us.
Yeah, I mean, the game's already hard enough. So walking in the door, they, and you know how the producers don't really tell you anything before you go in. They keep it, like I said, like, oh, Jeff's here, he made it.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even talk about it. I'm like, here, what's happening?
Wait a second.
I want to just like cry, like, way to put us on blast.
Wait, Jackie.
Like, oh my God.
Jackie, could you do a favor, and then could you do that thing where I was talking about your microphone? Like, turn that down. That might actually help us. But like, pretty much, well, because yeah, that we missed a lot of that what you just said.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's but you're pretty much is guessing it was. It was pretty much about Jeff. You seeing that Jeff was in the house. But then you got the Amazing Race twist kind of thing, and it pretty much gave away all your cards. You thought that you were going to go in there and just never tell anyone about Amazing Race?
Oh, well, I mean, there had to have been someone in there that would have watched our season. I mean, it is what it is. We're coming in together. They kind of explained it to us like, hey, like, you and Jeff are going to walk in. But once Phil was there, he explained everything. We're a takeover. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it was like, I want to cry. But, we walked in the door, and we kind of just both knew to stay away from each other. Like, everyone was like, okay, are you guys dating? Are you guys this? Do you have a final two? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, let's just keep our distance. Let's not scare everyone, because anytime everyone saw us together, they would freak out. So... And as you saw, just in general, Jeff and I kind of had our own game on our own individually. Like,
absolutely.
We realized, like, this is a single player.
Well, I think the most interesting thing about it, I would say, is that you guys, like, this is something, if I went in with anyone that was my loved one or someone that I had known prior to the show, immediately you'd be drawn to them, and it'd be a comfort. It'd be, it'd be something that you could really rely on. It's a crutch, but you guys ended up, like, really going the opposite way, which I think definitely helped both of your games in a lot of ways. Spencer, what you got?
Well, I would like to find out, like, that first week, when the feeds weren't on, when you were staying away from Jeff, who were you building relationships with? Because during this week, it's going to be kind of tumultuous for you. I was going to run down the HOHs right quick, and then I want to kind of talk about your strategy during this time, okay? Because Jason and James are going to be the co-HOHs. Becky and Johnny Mac will be nominated alongside yourself and Steve, okay? James is going to nominate you and Steve. Well, Becky and Johnny Mac are gonna win Battle of the Block, keeping you and Steve making you the noms. Steve's gonna win Power Veto, and then you're still up on the block, but Jace will ultimately end up on the block as the target. Now, this is kind of interesting because since you and Jeff did come in already knowing each other, it seems like it'd be a perfect time to split up a pair that already knows each other, like somebody that could have this advantage. But y'all did play it so well, and Jace became such a target for James and for that side of the house through these first few days that you weren't the target, and kind of explain to us what you did to stay safe that week, and kind of friendships and alliances and people that you started trying to be a bond with.
Right. Well, my strategy was kind of to just be as non-threatening as possible because, as you saw, like we were the takeover. People are looking for a reason to put people up. We don't know each other that well. My worst fear was that Jeff and I were going to be side by side on the block in the first week. One of us is going home. Split that up. Hell yeah. Why not? I would if I was in the house and I saw that coming. So I wanted to fight and play hard, but then I was kind of like afraid to win HOH as well. But then I was like, maybe I should. Worked out where Jason and I were kind of neck and neck. I saved myself with kind of an agreement, like, okay, I'm not going to put you up, blah, blah, blah. And then I ended up getting second in that competition. But then I had James. And I had to talk to James. He gave me the rundown about having Jace as the target, the backdoor target. So then I was like, okay, let me make myself even more non-threatening and volunteer to go up on the block, which is scary. But I was like, if I sit on the block here, people will see me as like, okay, like knowing that I'm not going home. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I took that risk. And it kind of worked in my favor because I gained the loyalties with everybody and I was able to get the inside information because I was kind of working on the inside. So I got a lot of images there and I was able to stay. So that kind of helped me out moving forward in the game.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And who would you say going into week 2 were your closest allies in the house? So just you'd say top 3 closest allies in the house going into week 2.
Going into week 2, definitely Jeff still always. He was making a lot of friendships in the house. So basically I was kind of gaining those friendships as well. I know James and I developed a really good relationship because, you know, I was working with him and he let me go. We worked together there. And Becky, you know, we were sleeping together in the same bed, you know, how we all have to share beds. So it just kind of worked out that way, and we bonded over both having to be on the block. So she's a strong bitch. So I was like, I need this girl on my side.
Yeah, Becky's for real. No, that's, and like,
right?
bedmates and stuff, that's one of those weird things that bonds people and makes you close, you know? So okay.
In the bed with each other.
Yeah, I mean, it does.
Yeah, you're just like with each other. Like, it's like,
yeah, and you're forced to, you know, and like, so you got to make accommodations, and it puts you both in a position where you kind of, you know, it opens up communications, and that's one thing that bonds people early on. Let's talk about going into week 2. Okay, this takeover is going to be the last laugh. There's going to be the phone booth, and Devon's going to get the she can cut out like 100 votes or something, and it ends up not doing any good.
Right.
I'll run through this week also. Shelly and Becky will be the co-HOHs. Devon, Johnny Mac, Jason Steve are nominated. Jason Steve are going to win Battle of the Block. Johnny Mac will win the Power Veto. And Devon and Meg will be the nominations going into the eviction episode, and Devon's going to leave. Okay, so during this week, you've made it, and you're not on the block. Devon has put a huge target on her back by her outburst with Audrey in the have not room. Kind of talk a little bit about where you were with all the Audrey explosion, with all the confusion that she was causing, there's Clay and Shelly that were kind of, you know, obviously a showmance. There's all these things that are really kind of going on. There's twin talk. Like, kind of tell us what you're doing this week, because this is kind of there's a lot of crap going on this week, and I would just like to hear from your point of view what you were trying to do to stay out of the fray, and also to ingratiate yourself with the power in the house.
Right. Well, since, like I said, I put myself out there in the first week. I sat on the block. I'm like, okay, week 2, all this stuff's going down. I'm just going to kind of hide a little bit, sit around, kind of get to talk to people. Like, you know, it's kind of in the know. People are still keeping me in the loop, but, you know, things are happening around. I was just letting it happen. I'm like, these people are going to, you know, self-destruct, and that's fine. Just watch it go down. I knew Audrey I couldn't trust her. She knew too much information. I thought that was just really weird. So I just didn't want to be talking to her. And anything I said was kind of like being misconstrued, or she would like develop it into some kind of I don't know. A lot was happening, exactly. But for Devon to call her out, I think that's what kind of screwed her. You know, you never want to like blow up like that so early on. That's what kind of scares people.
Sure.
I was working really with Shelly and Clay too. Actually, we developed an alliance that week. Obviously, it didn't work out, but Shelly, Clay, Jeff, and I, and Johnny Mac. I was like, okay, Johnny Mac is doing well. He's keeping quiet also. He's very loyal. And here we have Shelly and Clay developing a showman. So I'm like, perfect. Jeff and I can work with them. I understand what's going on. And it kind of made sense to work together.
Sure.
So that was happening also week 2.
Okay. So that was a pretty big week for you. And you'd said that aside from Jeff, of course, that James and Becky going into week 2, your 2 closest allies, but they're not who you were kind of aligning with in this instance. Okay. Were they going to just be kind of on your peripheral of friends and alliance members and safe votes and that kind of thing? Or what kind of plan for solid alliances were you hoping for with them?
Well, they were kind of there as well. I hadn't really talked a lot of game with Becky. She was very quiet as well. James, I knew a lot of inside information from him. I was kind of like listening to Shelly and Clay. Obviously, Shelly stayed the remaining HOH, so it's kind of like, okay, let's see what you got to say. Kind of want to be good with her.
Okay.
We were kind of talking about adding different people. We were close with Meg. We were close with Jason. We were close with James and Becky. So we were like, should we add a 6th person? Should we kind of like solidify this? But, I wanted something a little bit smaller. And then, I don't know, we were close with them too. So either way, we were going to be cool with them. Yep.
So, okay, and this is the week that Sixth Sense Alliance forms, and there's a lot. This really was, really the more I think about it.
Right?
Yeah, the more I think about it, this was really a whole lot of going down this week. What did... going into week 3, Davon's going to go. This is not going to bother you at all. This doesn't mess up anybody that you're aligned with. Davon going, whatever. How did you? I know that you saw her and Jason as working together as friends, at least, correct?
Right.
Where did you see your relationship with Jason going? Was he somebody that you wanted to work with, and now that Davon was gone, that increased those odds?
Yeah, no, I was really close with Jason. We would stay up till 6 in the morning every night. We were kind of like the night owls. He was like my little secret weapon too. Unfortunately, I wasn't as knowledgeable in the game as he was. So he taught me a lot. He knew every little detail. We would just stay up talking. I got a lot of information from him. With Devon, I didn't really seem as close with her. I heard she was kind of seeing me as like a strong woman that was smart, that knew what was going on, but we weren't that close. And Audrey had developed such a big target. There was so much talk about her going home. So when Shelly kind of flipped the gun and was like, okay, let's send Devon home this week, I was like, okay, because I knew then we'll have Audrey as another target to send home, and that'll kind of save me another week as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
so unfortunately, that's... I love Devon, but
Yeah,
Absolutely,
gotcha.
absolutely.
it gained us an extra week, kind of knowing that someone else will be going home now.
No, absolutely.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
after the game, it's easy to love everybody, but during the game, it's like, hey, see you later. See, after the show, you got to go so I can stay safe. So
Yeah, we'll be friends after. Cool.
yeah, but week 3 is kind of going to be a tough week for you. Vanessa and Austin are going to win co-HOHs, and James, Johnny Mac, Jason, Meg is going to get nominated. Jason, Meg will win the Battle of the Block. Johnny Mac's going to win the veto. And now this is where you're really going to take your game's going to take a hit because Jeff's going to get nominated and he will be evicted. Tell me, we saw you talk on the feeds with Jeff quite a bit this night in the bathroom in particular. I know that you thought that maybe Austin wanted to get Jeff out to get closer to you, and there's some things like that were going on. Kind of talk about just what you decided that you were going to do, knowing you're going to lose Jeff. I mean, because he obviously was going to be someone that you could always, your boy, you're going to be tight with him. And now that he goes, that puts your down the road terms, your down the road game, on its end. So you got to kind of regroup. Tell me about this week and what you tried to do once Jeff was nominated.
Well, this week was a little scary because we had Vanessa and Austin as the co-HOHs. And those are kind of the 2 people that were not I had no relationship with them. So I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? Most of us didn't have any relationship with them. So we were really afraid. We knew Audrey was still a target. We kind of all agreed, okay, that's how things are going to go this week. But in the back of my head, I was like I said, okay, Audrey's a target. Great, perfect, done. But I don't know what was going on. I mean, I know Jeff was talking a lot, kind of, shot himself in the foot a little bit. But he was always going to be a target no matter what. Just, I don't know. And I saw the whole He's good. He's good.
He's good.
And he saw a lot of things coming before it was happening.
Absolutely.
And I was listening to him, and we were working together, but I was just quiet about it.
Well, I kind of want to talk about this quietness, actually, because, I mean, on Amazing Race, you were not necessarily so quiet. I mean, you've got a beautiful singing voice.
Oh, man.
I was thinking about you at the back of that car screaming at Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to disrespect me, yeah.
Which was always like, yeah, fuck yeah, you
story.
should tell Jeff his
man,
shit. You should tell him his place. That motherfucker. But like the thing is that is super surprising to me that I think is like my strategy going into the Big Brother house was I'm gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna talk a lot. I just want to be super super quiet. Like, and you literally destroyed that game. Like you took that game out and you shot it in the back of the woods. Like because that you ran that game of being
shot it in the back of the woods.
out in the woods, killed it because you did really good at being quiet. And a lot of times even myself was like, where's Jackie? Where blah, blah, blah. But it's like you don't need to be entertaining, and it's a huge difference. I mean, you were entertaining as hell on Amazing Race, and then you realize, like in Big Brother, like entertaining doesn't mean jack. It means you're going home sooner. And I think that you like laid low, especially until after Jeff came out, and then you came out. Like then it was put her big girl pants on and kick some ass. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's something that maybe is underrated about you. I don't really know, but I think that's what you should definitely get credit for as being like the quiet game, because it's like you don't need to say nothing in those first 3 weeks. Like there's nothing to be said. Be quiet.
I need to just sit, be quiet, learn, see what's going on. No alliances really need to be made at that point. Like who are these people?
Yeah, it was just observation.
I mean,
Absolutely.
just to throw some names with what McCrae's saying, and what he's saying is exactly right. There's no point in showing your ass the first couple weeks, trying to win arguments and start, house meetings, this kind of shit. If you're going to be entertaining, do it in the diary room. Because you look at Jace, why did Jace go? Couldn't shut the fuck up, annoyed people. Davon, why did Davon go? Couldn't keep her mouth shut. Jeff, same thing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Then Audrey, and then Jason. I mean, like, up until Clay only really talked to Shelly to a large extent. I mean, he talked to other people. But what I'm saying is, like, everybody that went out up until Clay was because they talked too much. I mean, and that's one of those things that people out there watching, you want to get in there, like, if you want to make it to the end of the game, you want to make it far, you want to get to jury, don't go there and start showing your ass. Like,
that's
just forget it. It does.
And I knew I was going to get a lot of heat for it. Like, I know I'm not doing a lot, and I knew I wasn't going to be probably on any episodes, but I put that aside. I was like, I'm here to play a game. I'm all business. Like, I already did the race. Like,
that's exactly it. Where it's like you've already got your little bit, and it's like now at this point, I just got to sit back. Like, I'll get mine when it comes.
Give my half meal.
Time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm ready.
No, yeah,
I would
and definitely much props for that, because because I imagine you're coming off the Amazing Race where it's like, oh, I'm gonna come in super hot shot, like I'm gonna be super entertaining, everyone's gonna love me because they love me on the Amazing Race, no, but you just went and just played it real low key, and I think that's huge for a Big Brother game in this day and age, and this is what the game is. Like, you have to play it real quiet into the chest, very smart.
Thank you.
Real quiet chest. Well, let's talk about real quiet into the chest during this next week, because going into after Jeff leaves, it's going to be you took the hit with him leaving, and then you're about to get nominated. Liz and Shelly are going to win the co-HOHs, and you're going to be nominated, but you will win the Battle of the Block and save yourself. So you're fine this week. Audrey is going to go this week. I kind of want to talk about this with Audrey gone. You were safe this week. who did you see as being the next big target now that Audrey was gone?
Well, I mean, winning the next HOH, you saw Austin 100%. And he was telling me, he had a little side conversation with me saying that he was kind of like putting on a show too. And I didn't like that. Like, I'm like, okay, like, what are you up to? And to hear that he, put on that fight or staged that fight for Jeff to go, I knew he had a big hand in Jeff leaving. I didn't want to play for revenge, but like after a while, it was kind of like, well, fuck you guys. If you guys are going after me and my people, like, you gotta go. Obviously, you're not on my side.
Absolutely.
And Austin too, knowing that the twins were for real and that they're coming in, he's got to go. If we're letting the twins in, unfortunately,
Okay, that's who you saw as the biggest target was Austin.
Yes,
but who did the rest of the house? Who did you feel like the rest of the house would want to target after Audrey was gone?
I mean, I thought Austin.
You thought, okay, so you thought.
I mean, that's what everyone said.
So
we had this whole group going until they, like, blindsided, I put up Jason, poor little baby.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, this next week, this next week, I guess you're right because.
Nothing.
Well, I guess we'll hop into it because I was asking, like, in the pre-10, I guess, from the mindset of before you win this HOH, but you're going to win the HOH, you and Vanessa, and obviously there's this big plan to get Austin out. Vanessa's on board. You think things are going to they're picking up now for you. Let's see, James and Liz are going to win the Battle of the Block, and we'll have Becky and Clay going to the veto. Clay will win the veto. And now with Becky, tell me about kind of everything that happens between Clay winning the veto and Jason going on the block. From your point of view, as the HOH that was dethroned, you thought this plan was going to be going in motion. You had to have been sick here. Kind of talk about this time, please.
Yeah, this is where, like, everything, like, hit the fan. This is when, like, it was game time. But obviously, as you saw, we had this whole plan in effect. It was great. We had 8 people. Like, it was awesome. I didn't know there was a Sixth Sense Alliance, but Audrey did tell us before she left the house. So I was still kind of questioning it. And for Vanessa to be okay with backdooring Austin, then I'm like, okay. And Shelly and Clay, then I'm like, okay, maybe this alliance, maybe she was making that up. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened. James wasn't able to throw the comp. Like, it was a mess. I was supposed to remain HOH, and that didn't happen, obviously. But it was okay because we had all these backup plans. It didn't matter if, Clay and Becky were going to stay up on the block because then we were still going to backdoor Austin. Everyone was going to be fine. So I wasn't too worried about it. But then, I don't know, everyone freaked out.
So
paranoia kicked in.
was this week 5? Was this really the first time you'd had a lot of conversations with Vanessa?
Yeah, I was kind of onto her. Obviously she had gotten rid of Jeff, and she was worried about me. And I knew I was going to be a target after Jeff left because it's like, okay, she's upset. Mm-hmm. We got to get rid of her. I knew we had a talk. I felt like she was trying to get rid of me. And to finally work with her, I was like, maybe this can work in my favor. Maybe she can just get to know me. We can squash everything. We can work together. I knew she was smart. I knew she was playing a good game. So it was there to have her on my side. But obviously that unfortunately didn't work out.
Okay. Let's also talk about going in during this week. Talk about any conversations you may have had with Steve and just kind of what your relationship with him at this point was, just because of double eviction episode that's happening soon.
Yeah. To be honest, there was no relationship with Steve. We were kind of just like there in the house. He wasn't talking game with me, so why should I talk game with him? Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was quiet too. He wasn't talking. So I was kind of like, well, if you're not, then I'm not. We were cool. I knew we always were. He was kind of an option as well to be backdoored. I knew that was used against me later on, but it was always 100% going to be Austin. And I told Steve, you're going to be safe, you're going to be fine, because we had the plans so solidified, and it was awesome. Like I was like, this is gonna be so great, but it was so bad.
Yes, that's
That's the game.
the Big Brother gods were absolutely working against you,
Yeah.
and really poor
It was hard.
Jason, poor Jason, they were really working against him.
Oh
So
my gosh, I had no idea. See, that's why Meg, James, and I ended up being so close because we were like, okay, we kind of were pinned against the wall. We had to be.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Y'all bonded by being obviously on the outs,
Yeah.
and so Jason is going to go this week, and this is going to be the last week of the Battle of the Block. So going into this next week, James won HOH, and really for these next 2 weeks, things are going to be really pretty smooth for you.
Yeah.
So and let's talk about this. James is going to win HOH. This is where Shelly is going to make her deal to keep her and Clay safe, which pisses a lot of people off. I want to hear your thoughts on this here in a little bit. But Clay and Shelly will be nominated. James win the veto, and Clay's going to go home. Kind of talk about your relationship with Clay and Shelly, where you saw them in the house. Earlier on in week 2, you said you had an alliance with them, and you knew that it wasn't like a for real alliance, but it was at least talk. So let's kind of talk about at this point in the game where Clay and Shelly are being busted up.
You know, I even to the on the edge competition afterwards, like I thought, you know, I was good with Shelly and Clay. Like obviously, I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know they had this whole alliance. I knew either they were really close with Vanessa, so one of them had to go. And now that the Battle of the Block was over, and now we can really get down and make it happen. I really was close with them. I thought I was cool, but a lot of information was coming out, and I was like, you know what? And it was honestly James. He was just like, I'm putting them both up. That's it. We like had this whole plan kind of, and it was like, Shelly's gonna have to go because she's kind of the middleman in the group that connects the Vanessa and the Clay, and obviously they're the showman. So we made this plan to get rid of Shelly, but then James out of nowhere at 6 in the morning had a meeting with Meg, Becky, and I, and he's like, I'm just putting them both up. I don't care. That's it. That's what happened.
Did you see? How did you perceive James's relationship with Clay? Because from interviewing James, he said that he wanted to split them up so they could work with Clay. He liked Clay, and he was pissed off that Clay was doing all this shit behind his back. And did you see James wanting to work with Clay? Did you see this as like a revenge thing, or did you see it as still better them than me? Like let's just get out people that aren't on our side. Where was your mind strategically with Clay and Shelly, and who needed to go, and so on and so forth?
I mean, like I said, I was close with Shelly and Clay, and I knew they were very strong in the game. So it was kind of like keep your enemies closer. Like I knew I had to be on their good side because they had been running the house for the past month.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be on their bad side. I know it kind of sounds, you got to work with the people that are in charge, unfortunately. And this was the moment to, you know what? And I had to talk with James too. I was like, fuck this. They got rid of Jason. Like, who? Like, excuse me? Like, we can't be screwed here and just sit here and wait for them to take us out. Obviously, they're not working against us. So
Absolutely.
let's do something. And James, finally was like, I hate to do it, but yeah, let's do it. Because they were going to get us out.
Okay. And you did think like Austin and Liz could wait, and like there was definitely they were the people. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I still would have liked to take Austin out at that time, but I mean, James made a really good deal with them since they didn't go up on the block that, we were going to start working together. And I was just a brat. I was like, well, if you guys wanted to keep Austin so badly and like hashtag save Austin, this whole like, then he's staying. Don't even because they were like, because we had that talk with Shelly and Clay like, well, Austin did this and that. The Judas thing came out, and I was like, well, you tried so hard to keep him last week. He's staying, and you're going. Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
That's amazing.
Well, so
a brat, I know. In my night outfit and everything, trying to have a conversation.
That was the night.
Yeah, no one can take me seriously. I'm like trying to have this game talk, and I'm like sitting in my night outfit.
That is pretty awesome. That night outfit was awesome. Let's talk about after Clay leaves, Becky's going on HOH. So now your girls in power. I mean, still things look good. Shelly and Steve will be nominated. Steve's going to win the veto. and this is going to be a big turning point in the game. I mean, ultimately, really, but
What was my last week?
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be the decision to keep Vanessa over Shelly and send Shelly home. Now, what was your opinion about this? I want to hear where you stood, where you perceived Vanessa, where you thought about Shelly. And like I said, again, I want to tell you this, that, and you may know this, but James saw getting Shelly out as really finishing his HOH, getting Clay completely out of the house, and that there's no blood left for anybody to come after him. He was wearing one of Clay's shirts one time, and Shelly got pissed off, and that was a big deal. So but I want to know, I kind of want to know where you felt about Shelly or where you felt with Vanessa, and just kind of talk about this week, because this is your last week in the house, because after Shelly leaves, it's going to be a real whirlwind for you, and it's just a matter of minutes. So let's just kind of get through this week.
Yeah, well, I wanted both of them out, so to me, I was like, oh, whatever, we'll see what happens. Becky wanted to get Vanessa out. I 100% was down for it. I mean, I would have taken her out the week before. I was like, can we just get them all out now, please?
Yeah.
You can only do one at a time, unfortunately. Clay wasn't supposed to go, obviously, as you saw. He was like the least threat of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly was the first, and then we wanted to get Vanessa out. We were like, perfect. She's doing all this stuff. We saw it. We just saw how she was. But then we realized, Shelly needs to go too. When are we going to get another opportunity to have Shelly sitting on the block? Because no one else, she was more likable than Vanessa. We were like, okay, let's get Shelly out now. We'll get Vanessa out next. A lot of people had been, wanting to get her out as well. So we were just kind of going to let other people do that versus Shelly, because no one else was going to put up Shelly. This was the time to do it. She wasn't going to be nominated ever.
Okay. Well, so we totally understand kicking the can farther down the road, because at this point, Vanessa had been rubbing people the wrong way. She's clearly going to be a target once your side of the house got power again, or at least on the list of potential targets. But in this double eviction, after Shelly leaves, Steve's going to win the HOH. And he doesn't want to talk to anybody, but he ends up nominating you and Meg. John is going to win the veto, keeping nominations the same. This was kind of a crazy episode for the most of your audience, because they really, up at this point with the edit, nobody knew where Steve was at. People that watch the feeds knew kind of where his alliances lied more with. But as far as just the general casual viewer, they were like, when he put you and Meg up, they were like, what in the fuck is this kid doing? I mean, people lost their mind because Jackie for probably during this 2 weeks after James won his HOH, and you'd finished well in some comps and you were doing good in the way that you're talking game and stuff. People were like, oh shit, when Jackie gets HOH, she's gonna fuck some shit up. I mean, this was really like you were a big target for Steve to go after, because you were the kind of person that could get your other side of the house fired up, rally people, you could win the comps, and you could make some moves. So strategically for Steve, getting you out was very smart, but for the casual viewing audience, they were fucking as confused as you were. So this conversation, tell me any explanation that you got. Tell me, even talking to Steve afterwards, kind of really wrap up this whole situation that led to your eviction.
Like I said earlier, Steve and I just never really talked game. I didn't know he had the Scamper Squad or whatever. I knew he was close with Vanessa. We called them the Rat, and Vanessa the Rat's owner. We knew they were doing this and that. So, but we didn't know he was working with Austin. That's what threw us off. We were like, what? Since when? And then the twins, we thought we were pretty safe. And finally, I was really getting close to Steve. And the night before, we were starting to talk a little game, and I wanted to make sure, we're good. And he made it seem like I was good. And I told him, this is why I keep so quiet. The one thing I say to him, I told him that Vanessa was my target, and sure enough, I feel like that just basically screwed me. I think also I heard too that was the reason he put me up was because, he saw me as a threat, but also if he were to put up Becky, he was wanting to put up Becky, but that would kind of ruin his relationship with Johnny Mac. So.
Okay, makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, the
Johnny
game's
Mac not using the veto on me. Obviously, he knew Becky would be going up, so I respect him for for that as well because, of course, like, keep your girl.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a game of relationships, and that doesn't make a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So, okay, well, you're getting evicted, but this is not quite the end of it for you because there is going to be the jury competition where you get to compete to come back. Now, again, this is not going to go your way, but I want to hear about what you strategically wanted to do had you come in the house, and then talk about that competition and kind of how that all went down. But I do want to hear what your strategy would have been coming back in the house, who you wanted to work with, and targets and such.
Yeah, well, I definitely wanted to get back in with Meg and James, of course. I was very close with them. Unfortunately, Becky was out, so I knew if I came back in, she wouldn't be there.
Mhm.
I was okay with Steve. I would have been okay to start working with him again, possibly. You know, I saw him playing a really good game. You know, after he whipped out Trombonist, we all knew, like, watch out for this guy. And he knew the game very well, but Vanessa was number one for me, my target. And
Okay.
going back in the house, obviously, to only be safe, I knew I had to win HOH. And I was going to put up Vanessa and Liz because I knew that would be the only way to get out Vanessa because the other side wouldn't vote out Liz because they were close with her, and my side wouldn't either. So
Yeah.
they would have voted out Vanessa, and that would have been the thing to do for me.
Okay. Well, good deal. Going into the final three, okay? We're going into like jury coming into the finale. You're brought in the cars or whatever, and how that works. Anyway, it's going to be Steve, Liz, and Vanessa. Final three. Who do you want to see in the final two? Who do you think is the most deserving? Where did you see each of their games? Because we've argued all season that they all played really stellar games, and we want to hear what your thoughts were, because you really weren't aligned with any of them. You had to, no matter what,
Yeah.
you'd be voting for somebody you didn't work with, you may not even liked at that time necessarily, but just kind of talk about these options and how you thought it would go down, and then how it did go down.
Yeah, you know, I definitely thought for sure Vanessa would be in that final too, like, hands down. There was no way she would let that happen. I think she would have taken Liz because obviously she would have won next to her. Not that Liz didn't play a great game. She won a lot of stuff. She got out huge targets. She did play a good game, especially coming in as a twin twist. But out of the three, she was the weaker one, so I don't think she would have won sitting next to either of them.
Okay.
I want to give Steve, well, obviously I gave Steve my vote. I thought he played a great game as well. Vanessa, she played an amazing game, but the way she acted in a lot of the way she kind of was with the whole emotional and being hysterical, it just made us feel really weird. Like, I don't know, to give her that vote was going to be really weird for us. We didn't know how to, like, I know for Meg, James, and I, but I was really terrified for Vanessa and Steve to be sitting next to each other because that was going to be really hard for me.
Okay.
Well, if I was you in that case, I mean, shit. Like, the person that gets me out is the person I would tip my hat to. Like, Steve got
That's
you
what
out in
I
that case.
said.
Exactly. So it'd be like, man, whoever beats me is the person I want to win. Is that a bitter vote? I don't really know. I don't think so. But because it's like, you want the person.
Opposite.
Is it? It's like
I know.
really
It's
like.
the opposite of bitter.
I was like,
Cool.
you got me out. Like, good game.
Exactly.
Like,
That's the person that you want
like,
to tip your hat to, and that's the person that you
Yeah.
want to award the win to.
Yeah.
I mean, not only got me out, but blindsided me. I mean, I thought I was
Yeah.
like on everybody, and
Yeah.
whoa. So yeah, I definitely give him that credit. It was not bitter at all.
Yeah.
Good. No, that's. I mean, that's. I get pissed off at bitter votes and that kind of shit. I'm glad that you were able to look past and do that, because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's not what a jury's for. Can we just? I want to talk about. You talk about Vanessa's her being over emotional and stuff. Did you not want to talk to her because of afraid? Were you afraid she'd twist stuff and then crying? Would you prevent building a relationship with her strictly because you didn't want to deal with the after effects, all the side effects that came with Vanessa?
Well, she just kept giving me reasons to not trust her. Like, obviously she got Jeff out, so I was like, okay, well, I don't really like you, but unfortunately, like, so that'd be understood. Like I said, we worked together as HOH. I'm like, of all people, but that's totally fine. Like I said, I took the opportunity to make it work and develop that relationship.
Yeah.
Then she screwed me again. And so then I'm like, girl, like, okay, how can I be your friend now? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta go to you, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
she's playing a good game. She gotta go. She was strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jackie, is there anything that we haven't covered as far as your game goes that we need to mention?
Oh, let's see. Let's go back to when Jason left. Because I
Okay.
know there was a lot of questions because I was like angry that they had put up Jason. I wanted to, yes, keep Jason, but obviously I had my best friend next to him, Becky.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wanted to keep Becky too. So I know I got a lot of heat for like, why didn't I give Jason my vote? He told me not to, and I know I'm sure he told you guys that and stuff, but he told me not to. I would have loved to, but it would have really like kind of ruined my game there because I think people were looking to see what I was gonna do.
Okay. Okay.
And Vanessa's kind of creating these rumors that I was like campaigning for him, which I never did, but there was talk with him like, hey Jason, like come on, step it up. Don't give up. You gotta fight, you know?
Yeah, sure. Pep talk
So
stuff.
I was definitely, pushing for him there. And I felt like at the end of the day that he would have been better for my game in the long run. I saw Becky as an equal, but I love Becky. I wanted her there as well.
That's a definition of
So, it was-
between a rock and a hard place, I think.
That was so hard.
Because
but
you
yeah.
both, no matter what, you're losing a good teammate for yourself, and it's like kind of who knows what's going to happen in the future. Can't really tell.
And that was good of Jason to say because he knew it was toast for him and not expecting kind of votes anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so Megan James obviously gave him that, they were loyal. But
Well,
for me, he knew
for you, yeah. So
yeah. But if he had the votes, then I could have done it. But I was
Absolutely.
put in a really tough spot there, and I had to move forward, and I was already feeling like I was a target.
yeah,
So
but
it's hard.
it's always better to vote with the majority though. So
Yeah, when
I
you're in
mean-
that position, when you're like about to be
Absolutely.
backboard. Apparently, I was going to be backboard, as well. There was talk about now hearing and looking back. So that's scary.
so if CBS calls you tonight after you get off this podcast and they say, hey, you can come back for Amazing Race or Big Brother, which one would it be?
Like you have to choose which one.
You have to choose.
That's a mean question.
I know.
That's a
I know.
mean question.
I love both. I mean, they're so opposite. Oh my god.
yeah. Not as much sitting around on the Amazing Race, huh?
Well, what if I want to throw in the little caveat of without Jeff on Big Brother, but with Jeff on Amazing Race. This seems.
That's a good one too. I know. Like if I had to do the race, I'd have to do it with Jeff. I would my heart will always be with the race, and I love
Okay.
Jeff to death.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
That's
good.
the
Hey,
politically correct answer.
that is.
Jeff was gonna be
Yeah.
pissed. Jeff was
Yeah.
gonna throw a shit fit. He was
Yeah.
gonna try to
If I
pick
like
up someone else. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man.
It would be nice to go in the house without Jeff. Or but either way, it doesn't matter because I've already done it before. Once you go back
That's
in,
true.
like
Once
people are
you
gonna
go
know you.
back,
It's be
you
hard
never-
no matter what.
Yeah.
The race is different. Like you compete with yourself, so you have a better chance.
That's true.
We gotta
I
fucking-
get stressed out like I would be the first Amazing Race contestant to ever kill a cab driver in a foreign. I would be like locked up. I would have an anxiety attack and
I know. I was like,
break necks and
No.
stuff. Awful.
crazy out there. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's
I w-
going on?
I was
Well,
watching
it's-
I was watching maybe this last week's episode of The Amazing Race, but I was imagining like I'm gonna be the first contestant to go on Amazing Race and then die in one of these small craft accidents, like small aircraft. Yeah, that's who I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be that
they
guy.
always have little planes.
Yeah,
they
exactly,
put
just-
we did the helicopter ride, which was awesome.
That would be awesome. That
But
would
yeah,
be
they're
awesome.
always throwing you in something and throwing you off a cliff. You know.
Oh yeah,
it's-
exactly,
whatever.
absolutely.
That's like awesome. See, I love the adrenaline. Like I love that stuff. I love doing weird shit. You
Yeah.
know. In Big Brother, you're just like stuck in the house, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Big Brother teaches you how like people were like, what did being on Big Brother? Did you learn anything about yourself? Blah. I was like, I kind of learned that I'd probably be good like in jail because it's just kind of like a lot of sitting around like bullshitting, and like you got to do stuff every once in a while, and like that's about
You're
it.
serving time. time. Like,
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yep.
and when you get out, it's like I just got out of jail. I don't know how to like talk to
Yes.
people. Around
Yeah,
me.
it's
Absolutely.
weird. It
It's
is weird.
definitely like
Yes,
that.
they take care of you. They like hold your hand in there. They enable you. So when you get out, it's like, oh my god, I gotta
Yeah.
do what? I have to drive a car. Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
little,
and like
yeah.
like,
and like the food being in the pantry on Fridays and stuff, it's awesome. And then like you get the real word, you're like, oh shit, where's my
the
food?
jury house too. I know both of you didn't get to really experience the jury house, obviously, but the jury house is really cool too because they take care of you even more so. And like,
Ah,
I
very
wish.
nice.
I wish I would have
you
got
get
to
the
see
good food
that.
at the jury house. Another
Good.
house. Yeah, you just put whatever you want on the list and they just bring it
Oh,
to you.
that sounds amazing.
Oh, that is pretty badass.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like being with Marilyn. I'd say.
Yeah,
Maybe go make me-
Shay Clausen. Yeah.
Yeah. She's good, man. She's like a short order cook, or like grill cook, making shit. Anyway, all right. Well, hey, let's Jackie, go ahead and shout out all your like social media and stuff. Tell them where they can find you and anything else you got going on.
Well, you can definitely find me the most on Instagram. That's where I'm, mostly at. It's Jackie X Ibarra. I'm getting better with the Twitter. Jackie X Isabel. And
Excellent.
Facebook, of course, find me on there. Periscope, I'm trying out. Obviously, this new app came out while we were in the house. It's really hard. I'm getting better at it as well. So you can find me on there. And yeah, just follow me. I'm getting back in my dance life, getting back with my shows, and yeah.
I know that on Friday, you're gonna be on Mikey and Rochelle's show,
Yeah.
Pit Stop,
Yeah,
sponsored by
Yeah.
On the Block Network. Get some, yeah, exactly. That's not our tagline. We're working on it.
Get some.
But yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I'm probably gonna try to keep up. I've been trying to keep up with Amazing Race this year. I'm trying to watch all through season 26 also. So I'm definitely gonna be watching that show. Everyone else should be watching that show too. Pit Stop with Mikey and Rochelle. It's gonna be great.
Make sure you subscribe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be
yeah,
Friday, yeah.
that's gonna be excellent. I can't wait. I'll be watching for sure. So.
Okay, yeah. No, I love them. They're such good people. I
Oh,
haven't
they're
talked
the
to them in a
best.
while.
They're wonderful. They are
best.
wonderful.
But,
Yeah.
no, I'm really looking forward to that one.
I'm about to be on the episode where Mikey gets kicked by something. I'm excited to see him get kicked. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I know he gets kicked by something.
You don't know what it's by. Is
I,
it the
I think
spoiler?
I think
It's like
maybe
what animal?
no. I think it's a zebra, but even still, I'm
It's
gonna.
a- it's
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Good.
I can't wait. Oh, excellent. Well, it's gonna be great to see you on that show, and yeah.
I'll definitely be tuning in.
Everyone follow Jackie on all of her stuff and do all that good stuff. And make sure you subscribe to On the Block, and make sure you follow all the On the Block stuff, the On the Block Twitter and all the stuff. You know what to do, guys. Spencer, what do you got?
Nothing else. So we've got we're gonna be interviewing Becky later tonight, and I still don't know if we're doing that live or we're gonna release it tomorrow. We haven't talked about it.
Don't matter.
Well, don't matter. We'll decide and do that later. Probably right now I'm leaning for releasing it tomorrow. So,
All right, sounds good.
but anyway, all right, Jackie, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It was awesome catching up with you. So thanks.
Thank you, guys. This is awesome.
Yep.
All right,
Take care, and thanks again.
all right. Let everybody.
See you later, everyone, and take care.